Hello guys, what's going on? My name is Hiroshi from WebStylePress.com. Welcome to another video. If this is your first time here, we share software engineering tutorials on this channel. If you want to learn and grow in this area, join us by hitting subscribe button and bell icon. In this tutorial, we are creating a status update app in ReactJS. It will take user input from a text area and will post it in a timeline below that input area. You will also be able to delete status messages. Our app will contain one class-based component and other function-based components will be included in this. We will use input in separate component and we will also render messages from separate component. You will also learn destructuring props. We will omit the props.something and will destructure them in function parameters area. The app will also restrict user to type something before submitting. Let's start. I have got this component, class-based component. This is simple class-based component and this is the output for that simple app. And right now I have just got a simple text in it and I have got my CSS file. We will start by creating a heading and a text area and a form around it, and then we will proceed to the component making process. We need a div here and class name will be, let's use wrapper, and then we need a heading. Class name, app title, status update app, and then here will be our text area. Form and text area, and then our messages list. Our messages list will be rendered here. But before that, let's do something with our CSS file. We need some font and I will use Font Awesome and I will use Open Sans font. For that I have got here for Google Fonts, and let's use Open Sans. I will need an import. And we will use Font Awesome as well. Also, I need font family here. We will use Open Sans. And here's the CDN. You can go to cdn.js.com and search for Font Awesome. Here's the Font Awesome. I will use Font Awesome version 4. I will use this file, fontawesome min.css. Copy URL, paste it right here, and we are good to go. Let me style this heading and our app background. So I will use a background color that will be kind of dark blue. And for the wrapper, I will use max width 800 px and margin auto for right and left side, and then we will style this heading. Text transform uppercase, and then margin, I just need a margin from bottom. Also, we might need a couple of more classes. Text line left and text right, text line right. We are done with the font awesome. We are done with the Google Fonts. This is our app right now, and the styles did not work for this, I believe. Alright, I had a typo here. It should be class name and should be in caps. Okay. So this is our title. Let's create a form. Here will be our form area, and we will need a component for that. So this is my source folder. Let's create here a file, and let's call it post status. Post status.js. This will be a class-based component, dumb component. It will only receive properties. Alright, so let's first import React from React const post status is equal to, here will be our props. We will destructure these props. Okay, arrow function, and inside here it will be a return statement, and let's export default post status. Class name, update area. Here will be form, and form will have a function. Event handler, submit status. It will be props.submit status because it will point to a function in the main component here, but we will destructure props here, so I won't use props here. It will be just submit status. Okay, right now it is giving me error because we haven't created that function, and we haven't pointed it to the function that will send the props. Okay, so here is our form, and after the form, inside the form, we need a text area. Text area. Now this text area will have few attributes. We need class, update field, and let's say rows will be 4, and it will have a value, and it will have an event handler on change. Also it will have a placeholder. Type message here. Okay, so this is our text area, and now we need a button. For button, I will right line the button, so I will use it div text dash right, and inside it I will use a button. Button will have a class name btn update, and its type is submit. And it will have a text called post or post message. Okay, so this is our component for the form and text area and the button that will post the message. Okay, this is our component, and let's create the state for our component, because the messages will be stored in the state and the state will forward those messages to display in the component. Constructor props super props. Okay, this is our state. This dot state object, and in this state we will have two things. Let's say post update text. This is basically the text that user will type in the text area. User will type the text in text area, and that text will be stored here. Then after that we will process this text, and I have done a mistake here. This curly brace will not be here, and it will be like this. All right, inside our state, this is our first property, and the second property will be messages, and messages will be an array. Inside this array there will be messages, like let's type few dummy messages. Hello world. Alright, we have got two messages inside our messages array. Okay, now we will use our post status component here. So we will have to import it. We'll import this component. Okay, and let's use import post status from post status. I do not need to use JS extension here, and I am naming this post status, and I am it is in the same folder, so I am just using dot and slash. So let's use it. This is our component and we will use it here like this. Now this component will need few things. Number one, submit status. When the user will type the message and will hit the submit button, the event handler on form will be triggered, and we are pointing this value to this thing here. And besides submit status, we will need status value. This will point to the value of the actual input, and then status on change, and this will also be a function that will point to the event handler that will handle the on change for that input or text area. In our case, we have got the text area, so we will need these three properties here. And first of all, let's hook these three. So this will be a function. So this dot underscore submit status. This name can be anything, and I'm just using underscore just because it's I want to distinguish this as a function. So let's create it. Before render, this will be our function. And here will be this dot state dot post update text. So this is the value, status value, the value that will that user will type inside the text. Post update text, this is the value right here. This property is pointing to this value inside this state, and I'm using this keyword inside this component because this is a class based component, and this value is pointing here. Okay, and status on change, for this thing we will need a function. So we will use event this dot underscore status on change, and here will be the event. So we are set for this component, and let's use these values inside post status component. First of all, we will need these values. So I will call these props here submit status, and then second one is status value, and then there is status on change. So this value will be the status value. This is the status value that is pointing towards the towards a property inside the state. So status value, we will use this status value right here. and we have already used submit status here, and this one is remaining, status on change, that will go here. So on change will be a function and it will be triggered whenever user will start to type inside the text area. So this is a function, and it will receive an event handler. So I guess we are done here. This is called destructuring. If I won't use this, then let's say if I have to hook up this value, I will use it like this. I will remove all of this destructuring and I will use props here, and I will use this props dot submit status. But instead of this, I am destructuring all three values that are being passed from the main component to this child component. And I'm not using props.something. I am destructuring these properties and passing them to this component. So let's see what we have got. Okay, we have got here the text area, and that is not allowing us to type anything inside it, and we have got an error because it is not hooked up right now, and I have got a post message button here. And so let's first of all style these elements. We have got the update area for this component. So for the update area, I want a padding of 12 pixels at the top and 10 pixels to the right and 8 pixels to the left, and then 10 pixels at the left, 8 pixels at the bottom, and at the left side 10 pixels. And then I will need a background color that will be grayish, border radius 3 is all right, and then it will have a margin towards the bottom that will be, let's say, 12 pixels. Okay, I will also use another thing here that will be our alert message. In case we haven't got any messages being displayed in the in our app, we will use this alert info box, and then let's style that also. And font size will be small for this. $14 while the rest of the font size in the app is, I believe, 16 pixels. Okay, so update area, and then our next class is update field, that is the text area. So let's style our text area. I will use its width as 100%, and then I will use border radius, and then I will use a padding. Okay, so text area is going outside of this box. Let's use 97 pixels. I'm happy with this. We'll have to style this button as well, and that button has got a class of we have already defined styles for the text dash, right? And this is our button, and let's style this button as well, btn update. Border radius should be 4 pixels, and I don't want any border. And also padding will be 10 pixels and 18 pixels to the right, 8 pixels and then 18 pixels. Its color buttons, text color will be white. Background color will be, let's use this value 1522b, and this is a button, so cursor, pointer, and let's give it a margin top 10 pixels. Okay, the styling for our text area and the form is complete. So the idea is this: user will type in this text area and he will post that message, and the messages will be displayed right here. Right now this text area won't allow me to write anything inside it, and it will throw an error, and because we haven't catered this function here. So we will do that now. This is our post status, and this is our text area. We want to get the value of text area, typed value of text area, by using this thing, this event handler on change. Okay, so this has got a prop that is status on change, and it is linked to this thing, status on change, status on change. Here this prop is linked right here. So we have to use this function. The event value will be passed to this function, and we have to use this function to get that value and store it inside this state, inside our state, so that we can use that value later on. So the underscore status on change, we will define this function right here. So this is our function. This function will take the event from here, and it will store that value inside this thing. So we will get the event, and then we will store its value inside this state property, event dot target dot value. Oh, I have to obviously do it like this dot set state. I will have to use this state, and this statement will go inside it. Okay, so now this is the event, and we are getting the event value from this thing, event dot target dot value, and we are storing this value inside this property by using this function. there is a spell mistake. Set state. So now user can type inside the text area. Let's inspect this. I will go to the console and I will use console.log and I will get the value. Let's see what we are getting. Okay, 1 1 2 1 2 3 some text. Okay, so as user types, you can see that we are getting the event target value and then we are storing it to the state. Let's say that it is being stored in the state or not. This one, and here is our render console.log and this dot state dot post update text. We are getting the value of this property from the state as this component renders some text. Okay, so from state, this value is coming from state. So that is working. I'll just remove it. Also now this should be clear that this status value, the value of this is being changed, value of this text here is being changed by this. That is the prop name and this is the status value, and let's see what it's pointing towards. Status value is pointing toward this dot state dot, the same value that the user is typing and we are storing it inside this state. Okay, so we have handled this thing, status on change, and we have handled this thing, status value. Now we have to handle this submit status, this function that we have got here. So what it will do, it will get triggered from here, this prop that is pointing here towards this function, and we will get the value of text area and store it inside the state, but we won't get the value from here. When this text area gets changed and user types inside it, our value is getting stored in this state right here that is initially empty, and so we will get this value and will store, append it inside this array so that we can use these messages and display it as status messages inside our app. So let's handle this submit status. Okay, if I use event here and just console log it, let's see what happens. Post message, button was clicked, but the thing is the component is being reloaded. As I click at this button, the web browser is being reloaded. That I do not want to do. So we will use an event prevent default here. Event prevent default. Okay. Now if I click at this button, the web browser is not being reloaded and this button is getting triggered. So get the value of typed message from stored state and append it inside messages array. These are the two things that we have to do right now. Okay, so if this dot state dot post update text, if it's not empty and it's there, I will populate that status because we are going to update the array. So we will use the array here, and this dot state dot post update text and this dot state dot messages. I have created an array, and inside this array there are two values, this value and this value. I have combined these. Okay, this is my new status, and now I will update this state, this dot set state and now I will empty the post update text because it's being used and it is done, and messages with the new status that is right here. Okay, also what I will do is I will use the trim function. So I won't allow the extra unnecessary spaces for the text that user is typing inside the text area. Okay, so let's populate these messages here. This dot state dot messages. Now I will have to use console log here. Because this expression with the curly braces works in the JSX, and that is here, not here. Okay, I am using console log, and I want to display these messages, whatever inside this in state. Okay, I have got the two messages, hello world, and this is another status message. Okay, hello world again. As I'm typing, it's being triggered. Why? Okay, so because I have used the console log here, each time the component is being rendered, this is being triggered, and as we are updating this text, this property right here, the component gets re-rendered, and the messages and this console log shows the value. I want to trigger it when I press the submit button. So inside the submit status, I will use that. So let's try this now. Okay, this is another status message, post message. Okay, so hello world, this is another status message, and this is another message. 1 2 3 4 5. Now we have got 3 messages. Six, 7, 8, 9, 0. Now we have got 4 messages. Okay, so you get the idea. I will just remove it, and so our on change method is working, and our submit status message is working. We have handled this component, and our post status is almost done now. We can type inside the text area, and this text area sends the message or status message to the state, and it gets stored there, and then I can click at this button, and then this button gets that message from the state from here and appends that message here inside this array. Now I want to show these messages. Here is our messages list. Here I will use a component that will display those messages. So let's create that component, and that component will be status list. So I will create a file, status list.js. This will also be a function component. Import React from React const status list is equal to our destructuring. Here we will receive props here, and export status list. So here will be our return statement, and inside the return we will have a div with the class name status list, and inside this status list we will use a text that will be just an info. If there are no messages, then this message will be displayed there, alert dash info. We have created this class inside the CSS, right? Okay, so no status updates available. This is our simple information that will be displayed in case there are no messages. We will apply the check we will apply the check here in few seconds. So here will be our messages. Messages loop. export default. I forgot to use default here. I will just now import that component here. Import status list from status list. So here is our status list. I will use that component here. Status list, and it will also need some props. And inside that status list component, we intend to pass the messages. So this is our prop name, messages, and messages will be the messages that are in this state. Okay, so this dot state dot messages, these messages, we are passing these from this state inside this status list, because that list will be shown, will be displayed in that component. And then we want to delete a single message, so we will also send a prop to delete that message, and that will be status del, and we will need a key for that. This dot, here's our function, delete status key. We will when we will hit the delete button, that function will that prop will pass the event with the key to this function. So this function will take the key and will delete that message from this state. So we will need to declare this function as well. We will declare that here, delete status key, compare message key, and then delete the message. So this message is being displayed here. No status updates available. Let's apply the check here. First of all, let's get these props, messages and status del, inside this. So messages and status del, and we will apply the check here. So if messages dot length is smaller than 1, then display something or not, and else inside the else this one. Okay, if the messages length, these are our messages, if the length of these messages is less than 1 or 0, then display something here. Basically, then display this message. And in case of other scenario, just do not display anything else, just use null. So we have got the message has been removed from there, because we have got these messages here. There is no message, and if we delete these messages from this state, then we've got that message here, no status updates available. Yeah, basically we have to render these messages there as well. If these messages are there, these will be displayed here. That we are going to cater right now. So that thing is done. Now will be our loop. Here will be messages loop. So messages dot map and inside the map there will be status and index. And then there will be arrow function and this one. So here will be our single message. But I do not want to display that message here. I want to create another component for those messages. Single message here. Basically that will be status. That is this one. Will be like this. So as you can see, we have displayed two messages here that win our state, and we have got an error that each child in the list should have a unique key prop. So we have to handle this right now. I do not want to display this message here. I want to create another component for that, and what I will do is I will use single item here, and this single item will need some props. Status block, and our status block will be, let's pass the status, this one, this message inside this thing. Okay, and then okay, so here is an error because we haven't created this component just yet. We will create it in few seconds. Okay, status block. After status block we will need a key. Let's use index for the key for the time being. This is a small app, so I am using the index here, the index that is coming from each with each message. And but it is not recommended to use the index here because the index for the each element will be changed when new message will be appended. So you can this index, this key should be unique. This should be a unique ID or something. But because this app is small, I am using just index here. But you should use ID here, a really unique key. Okay, so we have got this status block, that is the status message, and then we have got the key, that is index, and then status key, that is the identifier. In case we will delete the message, we will need the status key. That will also be the index. I'm also using index here. And then the function identifier or prop that will delete the message. Status delete is equal to the key and the status del and key. So now I will create this component import single item from single item. I haven't created it yet, so let's create it. Inside the source, new file, single item.js. This is our single item, and inside the single item I will import React from React, and then I will use a const single item is equal to, here will be our destructuring, and then export single item, export default, export default single item, right? And here will be the class name will be status, and then let's close this div, and why this is giving me error? Because I have not used a return statement here. Okay, like so. Okay, so this paragraph, this will be our message. So what we were passing from this component, we were passing this status block, and then we were passing few more things. The key, no, we don't need this key here, we need this prop here, and then our identifier to delete the message. Okay, so this will be status block, this will be our message, and after message, or besides the message, I want to display an icon that will be cross and that will delete the message. So div class name delete update, okay, so inside it will be an icon, class times fa-fw. So this is our cross, and this is our cross button that will delete the message, and this is our message. And here we need an event handler here. On click, and status, we will point this prop status delete, and inside this we need a key, that key that is coming from this message. Okay, so this is the icon that contains an event handler to delete the message with a key. I hope it's making sense. So we have got these messages, and this is the key, and we have to apply the styles here, and we are having some issue here. Did you mean class name? Where? Class name here. I think Oh yeah, we will use class name here. Now, okay, the error is gone. Okay, so let's style these now. Let's style these. Okay. So starting from the status list, we have to use some classes inside our CSS file. So status list, and inside this status list there is status, this status. So okay, let's style that status. Okay, so this is text, align will be left, and padding will be 15px, margin bottom will be 15 or 10px, and border radius as usual 3 pixels, and position relative, because inside it there will be an icon, delete icon, that will have a position absolute, and then background color 21, 56 and 77. Okay, so this is our list. Okay, so this is coming along. We have to move this icon here at the right side. That icon has got a class delete update above it, so delete update. Position absolute, top 3 pixels, and then right will be 2 pixels, and color 15, 20, 2 B. Display inline block, and cursor pointer and Z index 999. Okay, and then we have got its hover. But that's all right, I guess. Okay, so this is now looking good. We can add the messages, and messages are being displayed here. Now we have to cater this delete functionality. If I click at the key, let me show you the key. This padding is a lot of padding. There's a lot of padding here. Status padding 15 pixels. I have used 15 pixels padding here. 15 pixels is a lot. 10 pixels at the top and bottom. This is a bit fine. Maybe 6 pixels. Maybe 4 pixels. Okay, so about the key. So this is the single item. And here let's use that key. Key this one, status key. Let's use a break here. So as you can see, here's the key 1, key 0, key 1. And hello world, this is another status message. 1 2 3 4 5 6, and see now 1 2 3 4 5 6 has got the key 0, and now 98765 will have key 0. So this key should be unique for each element here, but in my case it is not, because I am just using the key here and this is not unique. It changes every time when I update these messages, or some message will be deleted, this key will be changed. But in your case, this key should be unique. I am using the index here because it's a small app. We will try the unique key in coming videos as well later on. Okay, so this is the status. Let's delete now. If I click the delete button, and what will it do? It does nothing. So let's handle it. So this is our delete button. On click, status, delete, and it is pointing here, status delete. And then this will also point to our main function that is here. This one. So this is the prop that is getting information from here. Status delete, this one, and then this one is prop here, and it is pointing here, and inside this we have got a function with the key. So console.log key. Let's see what we are getting. Key 0, and here key should be 1, 0, 1. Okay, so our pointer is working. Now we have to delete that message. We are getting the information from the message. We have to delete the message now. So to delete the message, I will use the splice method. First of all, I will get the copy of my messages that are in this state. Let messages copy, and that will contain an array, and this dot state dot messages. So this is my copy of messages. Okay, and now okay, so messages copy dot splice key 1, this one. This will delete the message. This dot set state now I will replace the messages. We have applied this splice method on this array, and we have deleted the message, and now we are just replacing the original message with the messages copy. So let's try it. Yes, it is getting deleted now. Now what I will do is I will delete this key right here, and I guess our app is completed. So status update app. Now I will also empty this array in our state. These were dummy messages, so this is a now empty array. Okay, so there are no messages inside our state now. So this is first message. Okay, so this is first message, and this is second message. The second message, third message, post message is third, and these are getting deleted. And if there is no message, then there will be this information that no status updates available. And if I post it like this, nothing happens. But let's see. All right, this thing is working. This trim method is working, so it won't allow me to post empty message. Now yeah, it will post it. I want these messages to be white. So the status color will be white. Yes, now it is looking good, better. Yep. So empty message, I can't post the empty message. I am happy with the output of this app. 1, 2, 3. Let's delete 2. 2 was deleted. Let's delete 1. 1 was deleted. 3 was deleted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's delete 3. Let's delete 4. Let's delete 5, 2, 1. Yeah, our app is complete. I'm happy with the output of this app. So we created a class-based component and we defined our state, and we used two properties. One is simple text and one is array messages and post update text. Inside the post update text, we are storing the value of text area. When the user types inside the text area, the value gets stored here inside this, and these messages contain the messages. When a user clicks at this post message button, the app takes the value, stored value that is inside it, and appends that value inside the array. And I have got these functions, and we have got this component, function component, and in this function component we have got two components. One is post status. Post status is this component that has got our form has got on submit handler, and we are destructuring the values here. We are not using props.something. We are destructuring the value, the props here, and we are directly calling these inside the component. And this is the text area. Text area has got value that is coming from the state, and it has got on change handler. And then we have got the button, submit button, post message button. And I want to do something else. I do not want to show this post message button when it's nothing here, I want to show this message when a user types something inside it. So how will I cater that? This button, I want to hide this button. So the status value is the value that is coming from the state, and that value gets stored when the user types inside the text area. This is the status value. It will be there, it will be something, and its length will be more than 0, or it will be nothing. So let's use this thing. So status value, we will use our checks based on this value that is coming. It is coming from this state. Okay, so status value dot trim, let's trim it, dot length. If its trimmed length is greater than 0, then only we will show this button, else we won't display anything. So this whole button will go inside this check. Let's see what happens now. All right, our button has got removed, not removed, it's hidden. And if I use empty spaces, nothing happens, but if I type something, the button appears. And if I again I again remove the message, then the button will be hidden again. And here is the message again, and let's post it, and after I post it, the button will be removed again. Nice. Another message, remove 3, 4, and of course you can apply more checks as you like. Remove 4, remove 5, remove 1, 2, 3, 4, remove another message. Yep, I am happy with this now. So we have also applied that check as well. It is looking good. I am happy with it. All right, so we were here, and we have got text area, and then we just fetched this status value from the app status value. Inside the status value, we have got this dot status dot post update text. So if there will be some text inside this thing, then the button will be displayed, otherwise it won't be displayed. Okay, so it was our text area and our button, and it has got a type of submit. On submit, we are just what we are doing on submit. On submit, this is where it is on submit. This is our on submit status. From here, submit status, this is the function, and inside it we just prevented its default action, that is submitting a form and reloading of page, and that is not happening. So that so inside this function we are getting the text from the state, we are trimming it, and then if this is some value greater than 0, then we are getting the text from this state and previous messages. This is for previous messages, kind of what's already there. Okay, and then we are storing it in new status, and then we are updating the message with the new status, and then we just removed whatever was inside the post update text inside the state. So that is our submit, and then this was our component that was taking the input from the user, and then user was submitting the some text, and then that text was appending inside the messages. And this is our list that is displaying the messages. This is receiving messages from the state. This object or array. This is here, and this dot state dot messages, and these are coming here, and we are just displaying the alert here. If there are no, if length of the messages is less than 1 or 0 or nothing, then we are displaying this text that no status updates are available, otherwise we are not displaying anything. And here are the messages. We are mapping these messages, each element of array inside this thing, and we are passing this one message or one status inside this component as a prop with the name of status block. And then this is the key that is mandatory for this iteration, otherwise you will see a warning inside the console. And this is the status key, that is the index that we are passing along with this message. And this is the status delete and identifier. This is the prop that will pass an event or key to the main component in case we want to delete the message. And this is our single item that is just receiving the status block, the single message. And inside that we have used an icon, and at icon there is this event handler, or this prop that will send the key here, and it will be passed here, and then here, from here delete status, the message will get deleted from the state, and remaining messages will show here. So I am happy with the app. Let me know your thoughts. So this is how you can use ReactJS to create a simple status update app, and you store the messages and the status in the state. Today we covered text area. Today we covered a form, getting values and text from the form and text area, and storing them in the state, and then getting the messages and stuff from the state, and then displaying it and iterating it through each element, and then displaying it inside a component. Today we also discussed about the destructuring, and then many small things. So little bit of correction here. Our app is working like this: update 1, post message, update 2, post message, update 3, post message. And this is working like delete is also working. Okay, so I have used this function here, and this is the parameter, and parameter is fine, but this function right here, it is pointing towards this prop. So this is the single item, and if I go back, our single item is this one, and this one right here. Okay, I am here passing this key and this key, that is not necessary. And then this thing, status list, is being called here, and again here I'm using key and key. You know, these are just pointers. This is the function, and this is binding. This is function with the parameter. Okay, and rest of it, this one is pointer, and this one is also pointer. Well, this is function. I do not need this here, so this dot delete status, and I do not need key here. So this one right here, status, let's use status delete everywhere. Okay, so status delete, status delete, and then here again status delete. I do not need key here. This is just a pointer. Okay, this is pointing towards this one, and this is calling this function without any parameter. So we save it, and then again here this is status delete, and then this is actual function and actual event handler on click, and this is binding, and this is actual function with the parameter, and this function and parameter will be passed here. This one, we are accessing the key here. This was our status key, so let's use this status key here. Instead of key, this status key and this status key. So parameter is being passed here, but rest of this, props don't need anything else. Don't use parameter or binding here. Similarly, do not use binding or parameter here. Just use binding and parameter at the actual event handler. This is binding and this is function with parameter, and this parameter is being called directly at the original function. All of this except that original function is the pointer. So let's see if this works. So update 1, post message 2, and this is 3. So let's delete 2. It works. Update 1, delete 3, delete. Okay, so this is working. So let's refactor rest of the components as well. So we have only this function in this single item that we have corrected, and this one status list. Inside this status list we had only this one, and so this component is fine now with its function. And now let's see this one. Okay, here is also nothing to refactor, and in the post status there is one function. Okay, this one. Now previously I did like this binding, and then we passed a parameter from here, but this time this is not a parameter, this is an event. So event, either I can use like something like this or like this. Okay, so this is status on change, and here this is the status on change. I do not need this one here. This is just the pointer. I just need the original function name here, and this is our function. The parameter is being called here, event or parameter. Okay, so and this is actually being used, event dot target dot value. So let's see our binding, key binding works. Yeah, it is working. And if I, let's say I do this like event 1, so I will use event 1 here, and I will also then use event 1 here and also here. So let's see now. Yeah, it is working. So I am going to revert it. I prefer just the event. So next function is this submit status. Submit status is here. Okay, submit status is this one. This is going into post status. This is post status, and here no parameter with it. Next one was delete status that I have explained. This is the parameter, and no need to bind this or retrieve parameter here. This is just pointing towards the original function that contains the logic, and this is just the pointer or prop that is pointing this function inside the child components. Okay, so status list, this is the status list, status delete, status delete, status delete, and this is further pushing the prop inside this one, and here is our actual event handler. So just a little but important thing to keep in mind about what to pass with the event handlers and props. So that's it for this app. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you liked the video. If we missed anything or you have something to add or share, comment down below, ask questions related to this topic. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to the channel and hit bell icon to receive channel updates. Join us on social media, links are in the description below, and stay tuned for more updates. I will see you in the next video.